Alright, today we're going to be working with adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Now, one thing you have to remember when you're adding and subtracting with mixed numbers, it's the same thing, or it's very similar to adding and subtracting with just regular fractions. The number one rule must have common denominator. So, must have common denominator. The main thing that you have to have a common denominator when you're adding or subtracting fractions or adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Let's go ahead and do a couple of examples. First one, you have 6 4/5 plus 2 3/8. All right, well, I need a common denominator. So a common denominator for 5 and 8 would be 40. So then if you have your 40, well, how did 5 turn into 40? Well, it's times 8. So 4 times 8 would be 32. Same thing over here. 8 times 5 gave me 40, so 3 times 5 is 15. And then you're just going to keep your whole number. So I'm going to keep my 6. And I'm going to keep my 2. Now, I have a common denominator, so the common denominator stays, and 32 plus 15, because remember it was adding, 32 plus 15 is 47, and now put your two whole numbers together, and 6 plus 2 is going to be 8. Now, when you're dealing with fractions, you always have to ask yourself two questions. Can it be reduced, or is it improper? Well, doesn't look like it can be reduced, but it is improper. So we're going to have to switch the 47 over 40. And how you do that is 47 divided by 40. 47 divided by 40. So 40 will go in there one time. And then I'm done. Now 47 40ths actually turned into 1 7 40ths. So this is actually now 1 7 40ths. Think of a clock, 1 7 40ths. So that fraction turned into 1 7 40ths, plus the 8 that you had. So now I have a total of 9 7 40ths. All right. Let's try another adding mixed number question. How about this time we do 16 2/7 plus 3 20 over 21. First thing I need, common denominator. So what is a common denominator for 17 and 21? Well, you're right, I could use 21. Now, you have to ask yourself, 7 times what gives you 21? 7 times 3. So the 2 times the 3 is 6. Over here, 21 is still 21, so what's going to happen to your 20? It stays 20. And then just bring your whole numbers down. And there we go. Now, my denominator is going to stay 21. Add your numerators. 6 plus 20 is 26. And the 16 plus the 3 will give you the 19. Can I reduce that? No. Is it improper? Yes. So I need to convert. So 26 divided by 21 goes in there one time. So 26 21 turned into 1 5 21. Now, put this with the whole number that you already had, and your final answer is 20 over 5 21. Now that we've done a couple of adding with mixed numbers, let's try some subtracting now. So look, it's the same, but sometimes there might be a little twist to it when you have to borrow. So let's try a couple of those. All right, this time, let's try this question. How about 12 and 2/7 minus 3 and 5/6? 12 and 2/7 minus 3 and 5/6. First thing for adding and subtracting with fractions or mixed numbers, common denominator. So what would be a common denominator for 7 and 6? 42. So there's my common denominator. Now remember, if you change your denominator, you must change your numerator. So 7 times 6 gave me 42. So 2 times 6 is going to be 12. Now let's look at this one. 6 times 7 gave me 42. So 7 times 5 is 35. Now, keep your whole numbers. 12, 3. Now this one's a subtraction question, or a subtraction problem. So, could I take 35 from 12? No, I can't take 35 from 12, so I'm going to have to borrow. Now, borrowing of fractions, very different than borrowing from regular whole numbers or decimals. It's a little bit of a twist to it. So here's what you're going to do. I think of them as pizzas, okay? When I think of fractions, I think of pizzas. So I'm going to borrow a whole pizza from the 12, which is going to leave me 11 whole pizzas. Well, I took away a pizza, and I'm going to cut it up into pieces. So here's what I'm cutting it up into. Wanted to have the same denominator as this one, so that's 42. Well, if you had a whole pizza and it was cut up into 42 slices, how many slices would you need to make that whole pizza? You're right, 42. So when I borrow a whole pizza, I'm cutting it up into the same denominator, and your top and bottom number are going to be the same. Now I'm going to take this, and I'm going to add it to what I already had. 42 is still 42. But 42 plus the 12 is going to give me 54. Then, this is still the same. I'm not going to mess with this one. Now, do I have enough numerator to subtract? I do. 54 minus 35 is going to be 19. Denominator stays the same, and now 11 minus the 3 would be 8. I can't reduce that. It's not improper, so I'm finished. All right? Let's try one more like that. This time, how about we do 16 and 2/7 minus 3 and 20 over 21. Got it? 16 and 2/7 minus 3 and 20 over 21. First thing, adding, subtract with fractions, common denominator. So, common denominator for 7 and 21, 21. Alright, how did my 7 turn into 21? Times 3. So 3 times 2 is going to be 6. Over here, 21 is still 21, so what happens to 20? It stays the same. So 20 is still 20. Now bring down your whole numbers. And let's see if I can subtract. Denominators are the same, that's what I wanted. Can I take 20 from the 6? No. I'm going to have to borrow from the 16. So I'm going to borrow that whole pizza. So when I borrow that whole pizza, that turns into 15 whole pizzas left. I'm going to take that pizza that I'm borrowing, and I'm going to cut it up into slices. I want it to have 21 slices. Well, if your pizza is cut up into 21 slices, how many pieces would you need to have to make your whole pizza? 21. Again, you're going to notice that number is always the same. Now, take this 21 over 21, add it to your 6 over 21, and you have 27 over 21. Now, you can take this fraction away from it. So 27 21 minus 20 21 will give you 7 over 21. And then don't forget your whole numbers. 15 minus 3 is 12. All right, am I finished? Ask yourself 2 questions. Can you reduce it? Yes, you can. I can reduce 7 and 21 both by 7. So I get 1, 3, and my whole number of a 12. Can I reduce this? Is it improper? So you're finished. And there you go. Don't forget, when you're subtracting with your mixed numbers, you're not just putting a 1 over there. You've got to borrow that one whole pizza, cut it up into slices, which would be your denominator that you have. Hope this helps, and I will see you next time.